Yo, what is good, everyone? What is up, everyone? How you guys doing? Welcome to the first episode of 2024. We haven't seen you guys since last year, so how you guys doing? Welcome back to the Renegade Roundtable podcast. I'm Jeff Kirby, of course. Each and every week, of course, we are joined by Jarryd. Jarryd, how in the hell are you, and how was your New Year's?
It was good. Fantastic. Excited.
Did
Nervous?
you go and enjoy your private yacht excursion in the Mediterranean for the
No, definitely not. Just hang out.
or did you go to one of your other pet houses?
Oh, I definitely have another penthouse, trust me. Yeah.
It's on Epstein's Island. Before we get started, there is one particular thing I wanted to talk about real quick to kick off the first episode of 2024. And all I have to say is let's go Kings. Let's go
God.
Kings.
There we go, man. I actually stayed up and watched that game. It was rough. But no, a lot of injuries that happened that game, but it's unfortunate. But Paulo is the man. Definitely an all-star.
I don't even think he's top 75 in the I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, let's get down to business, because what a way to end off 2023 on New Year's Eve, to watch that game. Back-to-back 30-point games. Let's just start off there. Back-to-back 30-point games. We were ecstatic when we got one 30-point game last week. You mean to tell me we get two back-to-back down the stretch?
Mm-hmm.
And before I go on, and I know obviously everything that I'm saying is results-based. Totally understand it. Remember a few weeks ago, we were after the New England game, we were all very down. We're down on Mike Tomlin. We're down on the Steelers. I went on the rant saying the Steelers should lose out and go for a better draft pick. And then, especially once you got to the Colts game, you lose the way you did there, and it was just a complete embarrassment. And then you get to the Bengals game. Now, granted, their defense may not be great, but it was still encouraging to see, hey, Mason Rudolph went out there for the first time this year as a starter and actually got the job done.
Was a game manager.
But then how is he going to look against Seattle? Because I think a lot of us in the back of our minds didn't want to admit it, but we all kind of had this feeling of, hey, we know how this could go. He could go out there and throw 3 picks. We know how this can go. And goes out there. He doesn't throw a touchdown pass, but goes 18 of 24 for 274, averages 11.4 yards per pass, only has 1 sack, has a rating of 112. I mean, in a 30-point and against a good team. Seattle's they were 8-7, just like you were. They're not a bad team at all. And to see you go out there and win that game was very, very encouraging something. It was genuinely fun to watch again.
It was.
You're like, oh, again, is this the same team?
Literally, whenever the game was close and it was third down, I was like, all right, Mason, you got to have this one for me. Third and long, and he throws a bomb to George Pickens. And what a nice catch, by the way. Great catch.
But oh my God.
I thought he was sacked. I can't believe he threw the ball.
And you know what? In that particular play right there, with Mason or with Mitch or Kenny, that ball ain't happening. That's probably turning into a sack or a throwaway. The fact that Mason was able, he sat in the pocket, knowing he was going to get hit. He stood there with the 6'5" frame and said, fuck it. I'm throwing this bitch. Fuck it. George Pickens is down there somewhere. He's going to show that arm talent. And bang. Incredible catch. Incredible throw. Both sides. When we saw that, we're like, oh, we got something here.
Oh, man, you got to go with the hot hand. He was a game manager, basically. That's all you got to ask for. An average quarterback play, and then you look how it's going out these past 2 games.
Yeah, it's man. Najee Harris.
Oh, yeah.
Najee and Jaylen Warren balling out of their minds right now. 3 touchdowns combined. Najee Harris, 27 carries, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 4.5-yard carry, and once again dribbling someone's head off the floor, pulling a Conor McGregor. I'm going to dribble heads off the canvas. Jaylen Warren balling out, 13 for 75 and a touchdown, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry.
Shout out to the O-line. Did a lot better.
Yeah, the O-line, and that's something I'm glad that you brought that up, is when we talk about run game, when a team has a good day on the field in terms of a run game, it seems like the offensive line doesn't get much attention, but when it's bad, it's easy to say, oh, the offensive line needs to block better. No, in this situation, they blocked very well. They went out and balled out 200 yards on the ground. It was like 140 something at half.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to go out like that, props to you guys. Props to the offensive line. Props to Najee and Jaylen hitting the holes, getting yards after contact, and they were pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's not a lot of negative things on the game. The defense did enough. They bended, not break, basically. That whole game, the offense is good. We got Kenny Pickett, DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett really wasn't involved that game. And JSN.
Tyler Lockett he had 1 catch for 10 yards on 5 targets.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett wasn't really involved. JSN only had that touchdown, if I remember.
Yep, that was his only catch. He only had 2 targets. 1 for 12 for a touchdown and on 2 targets.
I know DK had a great game.
DK he got his 5 for 106, averaging 21 yards a catch, which, good Lord. Noah Fant wasn't bad at all.
No.
Especially over the middle, 5 for 59. Zach Charbonnet, one of the backup running backs, had 5 receptions on 5 targets. So between those 3 guys combined for a lot of what they did in terms of the pass game. But yeah, overall, one thing I do want to say is we got really lucky on the Deontay Johnson on that fumble interception, whatever you want to call it. Got really lucky there.
Hold on,
because that would have been a dreadful way to start.
Oh yeah.
And then George Pickens, I'm trying to remember, what was his fumble? Oh yeah, I remember now. It just went out of bounds.
It just went out of bounds. It's still hold on to the ball. It just very
And then we had the Najee. Well, he ended up being down, but it was a touchdown. So it was like, all right, wait, one of those in that situation.
Well, he
all
was
right,
down
whatever.
No matter what would happen if it wasn't a touchdown in my eyes.
But yeah, and then you look defensively.
Nick Herbig got a 4-sack fumble.
Nick Herbig.
And the recovery.
If TJ Watt would have had that, there would have been certain fan bases in absolute shambles, which we will get into that here maybe momentarily. First and foremost, Eric Rowe coming off the street and balling out. He is everywhere.
Everywhere.
He is everywhere. We have I don't recognize this version of Myles Jack that we've gotten.
Nope. Don't recognize it at all.
Yeah, it's
And hopefully, I think Minka's training to play this week. We definitely will.
which, and I'll say this: I understand the scenario about Minka. If he's not 100% ready to go, if he were, well, I'll just say it like this: if he were to end up not playing and they kind of do like a maybe hold him out kind of deal, I wouldn't be mad. But because I understand that, well, yes, this is a must-win game. Well, in a way, it is. But when we get into playoff scenarios, there is actually one scenario where you could get in even with a loss, which obviously you don't want that to be the case, to get into the playoffs. But I'd be like, damn. But then it's like, hey, all right, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's 50-50.
And then it looks like Atlanta Roberts is going to play.
That's good. I haven't looked at the practice report. I saw the Ravens injury list, and I just see a lot of not playing or they're hurt. So going into the Baltimore game, I'm not going to say anything about we should get the job done. Get the job done.
Obviously, when it comes to Baltimore, doesn't matter the scenario. It doesn't matter. They have the locked. First and foremost, they looked amazing against Miami. They have the number 1 seed locked up. They're going to rest the guys as they should. And even in that scenario, that with Tyler Huntley playing this, that, and a third, they're still an overall good football team. Yep. They even in that scenario, John Harbaugh you have to have nothing but respect for that dude in terms of a coach. As much as we hate that team, he deserves a lot of respect. It's still going to be a tough bet, and just going to Baltimore. It's a tough thing. It is. They're gonna play you hard because to them, while they not be playing for anything to benefit them, they still have the mindset of let's beat these guys and keep them out of the playoffs. Yeah, that's their mindset. That's what John Harbaugh and all those guys are telling their guys this week in practice. Hey, let's go out there. Let's try to keep them out of the playoffs. So
that is right. Well, like I said, riding with the hot hand, Mason. Kenny will be the backup. It's you got to go with the hot hand. I know that top is coming. I have to bring it up sooner or later. That people got real upset about over the week, which I don't understand.
Well, so let's talk about this right now. So there was, it came out kind of out of the blue that that there was a thing that Kenny had refused to be the backup, and that's why he was a healthy scratch. And then that originally it seemed like came from Mark Madden, which, whatever. We had gotten a wind about it. And then someone else that we know put it out there, and he didn't put it out there as a report. He just kind of said, take it as you want, and then put it out there. So, and then you had others, parts of the media saying, where the hell do you guys is coming from? This is false, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then Kenny confirms that was not true, whatever, or at least he says it. Let me not say he confirms it. He says that it's not true. Mm-hmm. Then you get into this whole argument between media members, bloggers, and all this and that about it. And you get into this big old debacle about professionalism and this, that, and a third, and blah, 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 and people want to be first. And yes, we are in an era, especially with social media, people want to be first rather than, they would rather, if it's a questionable thing, hell, I've even been bit by it before. I fully admit I've been bit by it.
But everyone has. A lot of people have.
So it happens, but it's. Let me ask you this. Even with everything that's gone on and what you've heard and what you've seen, what is your honest thoughts on it?
I just thought he wasn't ready to play personally with the limited practice.
So you thought that he just wasn't healthy enough?
I just thought he wasn't healthy enough to play.
Because if I'm not mistaken, was it Tomlin that said that he was, or was that?
He said it was based on his availability this week on practice, and if he was cleared by the trainers, which I'll go with whatever the trainer said whenever he was cleared. I just thought he wasn't fully healthy. That's my reasoning, but Mason had the hot hand personally. I would have still.
Well, right. So in that situation, you'd want to stick with Mason anyway, with the way that he's been playing. And look at it this way. Even from as a small-minded perspective of George Pickens seems to be a lot more he's a lot more involved in the offense. He's a lot more engaging in the offense. We saw him throw a nice block on a Jaylen Warren touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
So he reciprocated. So Jaylen Warren said that he would have blocked in that scenario a few weeks ago. Jaylen Warren shows them. He puts someone on Cincinnati on his ass. And then we get a block from George Pickens on a touchdown. So it's like, all right, hey, things. And then one thing, and I know, again, it seems like we're going after George Pickens, but in this case, we're actually giving him props. It's a positive thing. Saw him going and celebrating with his guys because I remember earlier in the year that was a thing.
Yeah.
So we saw him. He was the first guy after that Jaylen Warren touchdown to go up to him and, do whatever they do in the end zone. So that was nice to see. My thought on this was if it was true, shame on you, because you're supposed to be a leader. Why are you acting like this? And when you're in a situation that he has been in all year, where you may not be in the highest of fandom within some of the people in that organization and in that building, don't know if that would have been the right scenario to have happen. Especially when you have someone like Mason who's actually gone out there and balled out and had the best game of the year. But if it wasn't true, then obviously then it goes to shame on the media members and shame on people who want to go and put that out there, who are actually reporting it. Let me put it out there like that. Not people who are saying, take it for how you want, but I've heard this. Not something like that, but someone who has reported it, a.k.a. Mark Madden's old Colonel Sanders looking fat-ass self. I'm just at a point of, if you're, I don't know, man.
It's a lot of questions right now. Everyone was talking about, is this what affects him till next year?
Is he even going to be here next year?
Yeah. Huh?
That's the thing right now that we have to discuss. Is he even going to be here next year based on this situation?
Oh, I think he is. If you know the Steelers, you know they're going to roll with them, personally.
Well, this is also the Kevin Colbert led team.
I know it's the Kevin Colbert led team, but still, I still even think.
And I'm wondering how Art Rooney, how Omar Khan will look into this and say, hey, you could get Mitch off the books, so you'll have an extra however many million in cap. Maybe, depending on what happens with this quarterback class, do you want to go in that direction? In a quarterback class that you'll actually be able to get first-round caliber guys. Now, we'll see how that goes, because seems like people across the league, or from what we've heard early on, people are looking at Jayden Daniels very highly, as he might be higher than Drake May, who for the longest time was the consensus quarterback too.
Ooh, yeah.
Which, I very well could see. Now, not that we're getting into draft talk, in terms of like that, but that's something to look at. And then obviously you got Michael Penix, which, yes, I'm actually saying Michael Penix.
Yep, Michael Penix.
Because I may have accidentally put on Twitter Michael Penis as a future Steeler and got everyone all hot and bothered.
Oh my goodness. Jesus. But still, I don't think they go. They might draft one, yes, but I don't think as high as people would think it would happen. I think Kenny still rolls with it next year. We get us a new, better offensive coordinator. You know, it's only a small sample size, but after Matt Canada's gone, Kenny had probably his best game of the season against the Bengals. I know they're not a good defense, but it's what you're going off.
In that situation, we were happy because they actually were able to move the ball downfield. Mm-hmm. But it also, we got to look at it as it didn't produce points.
Yeah,
that's something we have to look at too. And I'm glad that you brought this up, because there was someone that I saw on Twitter, and it seemed like he was trying to make a Kenny Pickett. He was trying to defend Kenny, where he posted Kenny Pickett post Matt Canada in 1.5 games. He was 31 of 43, 72.1% completion, 348 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 sacks. And then Mason Rudolph post Canada was 35 of 51 for 68%, so a little bit lower, but 564 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 sacks. And then he says they're basically even, and that's with the surrounding players making big plays the last 2 weeks. But then I went and rebutted that and quoted it and said, but what's convenient is that he also won't point the points per game that the offenses have allowed or are gaining. In 1.5 games, Kenny in the offense only scored 19 points. So he only had 3 points in that Cardinals game when he got hurt, and he scored 16 against Cincinnati. Mason has had 2 consecutive 30-point games. So in just one more half of football, that's triple the amount of points. That's where the big difference is. When you have a quarterback who's actually able to move the ball downfield, and also get you to the end zone, I understand that he only has 2 touchdown passes because he did throw one against Seattle. He's getting you into that position.
And he didn't need to throw it. The running game was working that game. The run game worked actually going into the end zone.
You know what keeps on popping up into my head? You might know where I'm going with this. Why couldn't we get this damn Mason Rudolph in November of 2021 against the Lions? Damn it.
Oh my goodness. I know you were thinking too. I thought about it. I was like, Mason, to be fair, he didn't have much prep time. He didn't think he was going to play. But I know. I had the same feeling too when he popped off. I was like,
damn it, man. But now overall, I'm at a point of my mindset has kind of changed when it comes to this. And the reason why it has, based on new information that we've gotten over these last couple games, this offense actually looks like an NFL offense.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I tweeted that out at one point of time. And I said, this actually looks like an NFL offense. We're putting up NFL numbers. We had how many total yards of offense? Here, I can pull it up right here because I have ESPN right here. Total yards, 468 yards of total offense. 25 first downs. You were 6 of 13 on third down, which isn't great, but I mean, you're no, that's actually no, you would like for that to be a little bit better. Fourth down conversions, you were 2 of 3. But you were able to run 71 total plays. And I think that's another thing too. You look at, and one of the things that I've always harped on was time of possession, gassing out your defense. You start out on an 8-play drive. That turns into a turnover on downs. 14-play drive, then a 6-yard drive or 6-play drive. 9 plays, and then 6 plays, 5 plays, 13 plays, 6 plays, and then you're able to end the game off. Which, by the way, ballsy call by Mike Tomlin, Eddie Faulkner, and company to throw that ball on first down on that final drive. It was very similar to, remember when they did that against Cleveland in 21 in Cleveland on Halloween, where they threw that little RPO pass to Deontay Johnson to kind of seal the deal. So it was a similar situation like that. But one thing that I'm noticing, not a single 3-and-out. Not a single 3-and-out.
No Presley Harvin. Not many.
You saw, so the first drive, you ended on turnover on downs. Then touchdown, field goal, touchdown. Then just the end of the half. Touchdown. You saw Presley Harvin one time in the second half.
Presley Harvin had a clean game. Look at him.
But he had a 46-yard punt. But yeah, that's one thing too. Having drives end in points. We're seeing that. You weren't seeing that with Kenny. You weren't seeing that with Mitch. You were seeing a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of 4-5 play drives and a punt, turnovers. You're not seeing that with Mason Rudolph right now.
No, because Mason is standing in the pocket and throwing it, even if he takes the hits, and you've seen it. He's not running out of the pocket. He's staying there. He's looking at his couple, his first read, second read, and third read, and throwing it.
And
like said, game manager. That's all we needed was a game manager for right now.
Oh, and by the way, I got two things I want to say too. Number one, Mason, and I tweeted this out. I want to say it was during or after the Cincinnati game. 2023 Mason Rudolph is the 2017 Nick Foles. You remember what happened in that game?
We'll see.
We'll see. I know. I'm having fun there. I'm having fun. I totally admit it.
It's a long shot, but depending on what happens this weekend, we'll see the scenario will happen.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a sec, and then we'll get to my other point. I have a word, or I'd like to have a word with an old friend of ours. He was a former first-round pick. He came from the school who sadly is going to the national championship, but they cheated their way there. Them cheating bastards. Their quarterback basically snitched on them. Screw you, Michigan. We traded up for him. Number 55, Devin Bush. I got something to say to you. Suck it. How does that feel, bud?
Did a bunch of nothing.
Let's see. What was it? Let's look at just the box score here. He had oh shit! I didn't realize he actually led the team in tackles.
Well,
he actually had 1 tackle for loss, 18 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and also gained 1 L. So go fuck yourself, buddy.
Oh my gosh. A lot of the trash talk, man. It's fun. It's funny.
That boy did a whole lot of laughing then. I don't see him doing a whole lot of laughing now. When's the last time he posted on Twitter? Oh, I see. Is laughing when he saw the Steelers losing, and now all of a sudden he's silent. He's silent. I wonder why. Go fuck yourself, bud. And I'm only saying this as a football player, as a human being off the field. I hope nothing but the best. But strictly as a football player, go fuck yourself. But yeah, overall, I'm curious to see. So I have the scenarios right here. So there are 5 possible scenarios, and this is according to Steelers.com, about how the Steelers could get into the playoffs. The Steelers win and a Buffalo loss, or a Steeler win and a Jacksonville loss or tie, or a Steeler win and an Indianapolis-Houston ends in a tie. Even if the Steelers were to lose, Indianapolis and Houston does not end in a tie. Jacksonville loses, and Denver wins.
That is based off, I think, greatest win percentage, if I'm not mistaken. If we that lose scenario, that's the reason I don't make it.
Here, I want to look up. Let's look up. Let's go to week 18 here. Week 18. All right. So obviously the Colts. It seems like we don't want them to end in a tie. Actually, it doesn't matter if we. It depends on what situation you're talking about. Yep. Tennessee and Jacksonville are playing. Jacksonville. We'll see what happens. Trevor Lawrence may not play with a shoulder injury. They did open up the window for Christian Kirk to come back, so that'll be something we'll have to monitor. Denver and Las Vegas are playing. So, and Denver was officially eliminated, but if the Broncos were to win that game, we wouldn't be too mad at it. And then what's annoying as shit is the game what we care about the most, of course, has to be the Sunday night game. Only the Steelers. We play on Saturday, and then we have to wait all the way to about 11 o'clock on Sunday Eastern time to figure out if we're going to go to the goddamn playoffs.
Last year, 2 years
what
ago.
the hell is this?
Just like the Chargers and Raiders game last
and
year.
only the Steelers' luck is going to come down to the final seconds of that game. That is the Steelers' luck. We're not even playing in that game, and we are just stressing out like no tomorrow. We're going to be sweating our asses off. It's So it sounds like, we are huge Miami Dolphins fans.
Huge Titans fans.
Huh?
Huge Titans fans.
Huge Titans fans, but most importantly, we are, because like I said, it looks like if the Steelers win and Buffalo loses, we're in.
Pretty much. Same thing with Jacksonville.
But there's also a scenario that you could get in as a 6 seed.
Oh, it's that's a long shot.
It's one of these situations. I don't remember what it is.
It has to be we win, Buffalo and Miami loses.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but my bad. An ad started playing on ESPN.com because of course they do, because them greedy bastards like to start playing ads all the time.
I think it's Buffalo and Jacksonville lose, and I think they end in a tied at Houston and the Colts.
What I should do is I should shout out to my guy Jimmy, Uncle Jimmy on Twitter, or Uncle_Jimmy D on Twitter. I should go follow him. I know he's posted somewhere on his Twitter about it. I'm gonna go and look and see if I can find, even though this bastard likes to post every 5 seconds. I'll have to find this. But yeah, I mean, this week is gonna get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And but first things first. Just handle your business against Baltimore.
Yep.
You handle your business against Baltimore, then whatever happens from there happens.
Yep.
We'll find out if we're gonna go to if we get to make it to the dance. And with the way that the Steelers have been playing,
you never know. And I believe if Mason has another good game, he definitely starting.
Let's see here. So I need to go back into the NFL real quick. Let's go to score. Actually, I want to go to standings. So right now, you're the 9th seed. And if you make it to the 7th seed, and if Miami wins, which we need them to do, we would play Miami. Man. Now, that sounds rough. They're beat up. They don't have a pass rush. Bradley Chubb tore his ACL. They were already without Jaylen Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Xavier Howard, I don't think he's playing as well. But man, wouldn't that be a good game to go to?
Of course, the selfishness of him. You'll probably get 50-yard line row 1 seats. Speaking of tickets, so I I was at my local cigar shop earlier this week, and I was talking to someone who's a huge Detroit Lions fan. Shout out to Paul. He we got curious. We started looking at tickets for the home game there. Cheapest seat was like $500 something bucks.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I can't imagine Miami.
Well, you got to think this is also a Detroit team that hasn't had a home playoff game in a billion years.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go and look on Ticketmaster right now.
Shout out to them. Shout out to the Lions.
Yeah, I am fully admitting this. If the Steelers don't make it to the playoffs or something happens to them, I am 1,000,000% rooting for the Lions.
But man, a chance to make it go against Miami, and there's a scenario that we could go against Buffalo as the 2 seed, or maybe Kansas City as a 6 seed. Like I said, we'll see. I don't know. If I had to predict, most likely will happen, either the Jags will lose.
And by the way, speaking of Dolphins, real quick, thank God everything's all right with Tyreek Hill at his house.
Oh yeah,
that was
crazy out of nowhere.
So right now on SeatGeek, this is before fees. Let me see if I can filter show with fees. So with fees, the cheapest seat in Miami for a wild card game is $260.
$260 just to watch them play. I can watch it from my house.
Yeah, we get to go to a playoff game.
It's true, but we'll see. What do you think about Miami? It's 4 hours to go down.
4 hours ain't nothing to you.
No,
just hop on your private plane or something.
Oh, here we go. Thinks I have all the money in the world to go down there. Let me get a hotel for a night just because I don't want to drive back.
I mean, for you, fuck it.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. That it's the likely scenario will happen that we'll play Miami, maybe Buffalo. One of those 2 teams. That's probably if we make it.
If we, being honest, if we had to ask ourselves, would we rather play Buffalo or Miami? As crazy as this sounds, I almost feel like I'd rather play Miami. I mean, I understand that Buffalo has been inconsistent. I just feel like Josh Allen would turn into God somehow.
And then with the Colts and Texans game, it's basically a win and you're in, depending on what happens to the Jags game. For the Texans, if they lose and the Jags lose, I think they're both out. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was like a scenario. I don't think Houston can't make the wild card. I think not the wild card, but like the. Yeah, I don't think they can make the wild card. I think they are if they lose. I think they win, they're in. Win and they're in, pretty much.
So I have an idea for you. If you want to go to a playoff game, if Miami were to somehow make it to the AFC title game, you could go there for $1,039.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I'll watch it from a nice couch. That's what I'll do. But
is your couch the most luxurious couch in all of the land?
Oh no, it's just a regular old couch. But with most likely scenario, I think we play Miami. I think that's if I had to predict what's going to happen, I think either Miami wins or Buffalo or Jags lose.
Now, here's something that I'm curious about real quick. I'm curious to look at something. We're going to do this right here, right now. I'm going to look at defensively. I understand that I'm looking at just stats. I totally understand that there's context in terms of actual film and all that. So in terms of total defense, Miami is up there. They're pretty good. In terms of defense for Buffalo, they are a little bit lower. They're actually right below Miami, so they're pretty even. I'm going to look at rushing yards per game between those two. Miami only averages 95 yards allowed per game. Buffalo averages 110.
Not bad. But like I said, we'll see what happens. We got to win our game first. We're the first game Saturday. It's just the first game Saturday, 4:30. And then we have to wait all the way to Sunday. It could be Sunday after the Jags game. And we're in. But probably most likely we'll be waiting till Sunday night.
Hey, Will Levis. If I absolutely need to, we'll have Jarryd put mayo in his coffee and drink a banana or eat a banana with the peel.
No.
If it means for the Steel or for you guys to win. Oh wait, is Will Levis even playing?
I don't even think so. I think it's Ryan Tannehill.
Oh God, that old fart.
You know, Derrick Henry, can't count out Derrick Henry, man. He does carry that team, and I think
he didn't carry me at all in fantasy this year.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry for you.
Which, by the way, I lost in my championships thanks to Brock Purdy's old bitch ass.
But I think that when you think about the Titan, Derrick Henry's probably last game as a Titan free agent next year.
Yeah.
Because I think that Tennessee team is going to be a lot different after this year. I don't know if Mike Vrabel's coming back. I don't know.
Here's what Mike Vrabel's doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be his final game as a Tennessee Titan coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to weasel his way to his alma mater.
Oh, dear.
And, he's going to end up at the Ohio State.
No,
and
really?
Ryan Day's going to get booted either probably in a year or so. And then he's the successor.
Yeah, what do you think about Harbaugh in Michigan, huh? What's going to happen with him?
You should see my Twitter drafts right now.
Oh, no.
You should see my Twitter drafts right now. I'll just pull up one. I'll just post one of the pictures, and I made this.
Is that the Chargers?
That's John Harbaugh signing with the Chargers.
Oh, my gosh.
That is just one thing that is in my Twitter draft right now for that national title game, which, by the way, just a weekly reminder. Fuck Michigan, them cheap bastards.
But we'll see what happens. It's going to be no matter what happens, if we don't make it, it is what it is.
So right now, in terms of the NFL draft, we have the 18th pick.
Ooh. 18th, huh?
We would be we are the last non-playoff draft spot.
So not upsetting if we make it or not, to be honest. The last draft spot, you're right there before 20, 18. It's not bad.
So we shall see what the hell is going to happen. But I think that is about it for this episode. I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys did enjoy. And if you guys did, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment. And as always, hope you guys had a wonderful New Year's. Hope you guys didn't do anything stupid and drink and drive or whatever. Obviously, you don't ever want to do that. Just a friendly reminder to everyone as well. Fuck Michigan. Fuck the Yankees.
Yeah, I already know what's coming. Go ahead. Continue.
Fuck the Magic.
Yeah.
Fuck Myles Garrett because he should not win Defensive Player of the Year.
I don't think he's going to. I hope not.
So real quick, actually, before we go, this is something ironic. So I was leaving physical therapy yesterday, and I get into my car, and 92.3 was, when my car was on, it just popped up. And it was an interesting debate because within the first 2 seconds of the radio turning on, I hear TJ Watt's name. I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm interested. Now I'm going to listen. Mm-hmm. And it was their afternoon show. It was their producer and one of the hosts. They were getting into a debate about whether Myles Garrett should play in that game against Cincinnati because of him trying to win Defensive Player of the Year and give another game to try and win it. And the one guy said, absolutely not. You don't play stupid, or don't be stupid. You keep him healthy, because if he doesn't play, there's a 0% chance he's going to get hurt in that game, and you have him for the playoffs, versus him trying to win an award or put a performance out to help him win this award, and there's a chance that he gets hurt. The one scenario, and I understand maybe a different scenario, but in a way, it's a similar one as well. Remember when Ben Roethlisberger in 2008, Week 17 against the Cleveland Browns, ends up getting carted off on a stretcher because of a hit that happened? It was more of a precautionary thing, but that moment sticks to my head vividly when we talk about should players play or rest in these kind of scenarios. That situation right there pops up in my head. And I always know there's you can't live in your fears. If you live in your fears, you can't play football. I get it. But you also have to look at this smartly. If you're Myles Garrett, is one game going to just absolutely change everything? No. Highly unlikely. And this goes for both sides. Maybe not. And if you were in the mindset that Myles Garrett is the Defensive Player of the Year, then it doesn't matter if he plays or not, because you already think he's locked it up.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you think it's TJ Watt definitively, well, he's going to play, obviously, because they're fighting for something.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, then that could be a different story. Because if TJ were to go out there and have let's say 2 sacks or something like that and get to like 19 sacks or something, that could change your mind a little bit. And when we talk about, I hate this whole analytical BS shit that the nerds like to say, or whatever fits their agenda.
Yep.
When you watch the games, obviously TJ Watt, I haven't seen TJ Watt go through a month stretch of not getting a sack.
Yep.
And people say, well, is that the only stat that matters? Well, when it comes to pass rushers, it's one of the most important stats there is out there for a pass rusher.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah. That's what you pay him for, to sack the quarterback.
Teams, I remember a specific quote from when J.J. Watt got drafted in 2011. The exact quote that Rich Eisen said about when he got drafted, the Texans are saying, go hunt 18 twice a year. Talking about Peyton Manning back in 2011, and obviously that never ended up being the case. But it was that point of, you're drafted a pass rusher, get to the quarterback, get home.
Yep.
TJ has done that better. He's finished more than Myles has. Myles had one of those kind of plays where he got very close against the Jets and didn't get one, and TJ had one too. So and there was the clowning. We clowned Myles Garrett when he did it, in terms of, when I say us, Steeler fans, and then when it happened to TJ, Browns fans, so it was like, all right, whatever. But I'm sorry, when you look at the numbers, TJ is better than in just about every stat there is, outside of your bullshit, whatever analytical PFF nerd stat you want to try to come up with.
Oh, he's double team more.
Sorry. Not our problem.
It's not, because they gotta worry about whoever plays against us. Highsmith too. It's not only, I'm sure, I know the Browns have a good passer. They got
Zadarius Smith, but he's a little bit older. He's not, at the top of his game like he used to be. And I think part of it too is TJ Watt, he's going to get to play on prime time.
Oh yeah.
So everyone's going to be watching. If he goes out there and has a performance, he goes and gets a sack, or he forces a fumble, or he does something like that. He's just all over the place.
Oh, it's wraps. It's over. Your defensive player of the year is right there. I think it's already locked. I think it's already wrapped. I think it's TJ.
It should be. And I'm saying this right now. When I say this, I say this with no disrespect to Myles Garrett as a player. Yeah. I respect him as a player and his ability. I will be consistent when I say, when we talk about elite pass rushers, the first two names I bring up are TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. I will always do that. As long as he's playing at that level, I will continue to do that. But I'm sorry. If he were to win the defensive player this year, then it kind of seems like then the media just kind of made up their mind. He's winning it this year. It's his time, and that's that. So
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
You got a month. I think it's a month to go, right? Next month.
The award will come out. I think it's like the day before, like right before the Super Bowl. So we have a little bit of time to figure that out and have debates with that. But I think now we're finally out of here. I had to get that off my chest. But again, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Like, comment, subscribe. And I will reiterate that it's fuck Michigan. Fuck the Yankees. Fuck the Magic. Fuck UCF. And I'm only saying fuck UCF because I guess that's the team that Jarryd likes to root for, even though they're a whatever-ass team. Hope you guys have a good weekend, everyone, and goodbye.